How's it going, gang? It's a final render here and welcome to another episode of Fallout 4 Building with Mods. Now, a quick apology, guys. I know there hasn't actually been many videos uploaded in the last 2.5 weeks, and that's just simply because I haven't actually been able to be at my computer much in that time. We're talking maybe an hour or two a day during that time, but things are back to normal now, so now it is time to show you the edited final version of the interior bar for our Diamond City mod. This is easily one of the coolest interiors I think we've ever built. We built this all on live stream, of course, with you guys contributing to the build, suggesting your ideas, and we have only got one more interior to build, and then we can start making NPCs, and then the mod is done. So let's go! So it was actually a bit easier to make this bar than previously I had thought. I really wasn't sure how to do it, but seeing as we had just spent a lot of time making the player home, I basically just emulated what I did for that. I went ahead and used the exact same wall scale that you can see on the exterior for the interior. I did have to do some kind of tidying. I had to go ahead and flip the little floor pieces and stuff that are actually part of the ceiling now. They're actually the junk fences you can see. And I also had to spend a lot of time plugging up a lot of the gaps, because often some of the walls are one-way walls so that you can't see through them from the outside, but on the inside you can, so I'd have to flip them around and tidy them, etc. And I was able to get away with 2 floors in this bar, and I didn't want to necessarily go ahead and have 2 full floors. I wanted to kind of have almost like a catwalk area where people can just kind of sit down on the top story and then look over a rail at the people down below. Whenever I'm in bars and clubs and stuff, I really like that kind of stuff. And we are of course able to have 2 doors, one of which is going to the main entrance on the ground floor, and the one on the second story leads to our exterior balcony that we built in the exterior. And again, you know, this has very much been kind of a kit bashing build. We've got lots of different kinds of materials and objects working in ways where they're not necessarily supposed to. So therefore we had to spend a lot of time going ahead and lining things up and fixing stuff in order to make walls look solid, for example. And I really like this look. It means that every single wall and floor looks kind of unique, whereas a lot of player mods, they're kind of just the same bits of flooring you've seen before. It's like the vault pack, etc. You know, you've seen it before, but everything here is unique, which is great because it's all made out of individual items. And now it's time to go ahead and build the bar itself. The bar itself, I didn't want it to be too big. I don't want this place to be like a huge, I suppose if you're in the UK, there is a brand Wetherspoons pub, where it's kind of like a mass-produced pub. I want it to be kind of like, almost like a speakeasy kind of feel, you know, where everything's quite small and confined and just feels very cozy. And one idea people really had was to have a kind of knife throwing board that we would have here with a synth head in the middle of it. Because I wanted to originally have darts, but you don't actually have darts in the base game. You have to go ahead and download some of the DLC to get those, and I didn't want to do that. I don't want this mod to have any DLC requirements, so therefore I went ahead and constructed this kind of knife throwing board, which has one of the Gen 1 synth heads in it, and it looks really scary. So here's a quick look at the place before the lighting is in place, and only with 1 or 2 bits of furniture. It's actually quite good. We've got quite a nice bit of room, but it doesn't feel too big, you know. I want it to feel very confined and almost like you all want to gather together and just have fun in a small little area, which I think when you've got like a place where you socialize, a place which is too big can often dampen the mood, but if it's a bit smaller, feels a bit cozier, you have more fun with your friends. And we do still have plenty of space to add lots of seating. And now, as you can see with this place, we've got a lot of these windows. However, the windows don't actually work, so I went ahead and replaced all of these windows with functioning windows. The windows that were normally there, they just emit yellow light, so you would use those on the exteriors of your buildings, but not your interiors. And I went ahead and used the same windows and lighting plan as I did at the interior home for the player, so that you've got these huge pools of light coming through, which looks glorious. And here we are, adding some of the stools to the upper stands. And as I said, whenever I'm in like a club or a bar, I love this kind of feeling. The idea of just kind of going around and just looking around, you know, kind of being the voyeur of the place, listening to people's conversations and see what's going on. Maybe that's a bit creepy, but hey, that's me. Final render. But here we can see I actually did have to go ahead and repair a lot of the floors because the stools were a bit too big, so I had to go ahead and hide those and use some of the dining sets on the edge just to go ahead and add a little bit more seating. And I also decided we really needed to kind of fit the interior aesthetic to be similar to the exterior aesthetic. So what I've got here is some of the posters that we designed for the player home interior and included them here as well. The idea is to kind of fill this place with billboards and advertisements to make it feel like it's still built by the same kind of people who built the exterior, almost as if it's the same community of people. And here we go with some of the furniture in place and the lighting engine properly working. And oh, bravissima, this place looks lovely. I love the kind of warm aesthetic it's got. Even though it's got metal walls and it would probably be quite cold in here in the winter, it feels welcoming in a way. It feels like a cozy little den which someone has made, like a little clubhouse which has been built. And I just love it. You know, whatever you imagine when you're a kid building your own little homes, you imagine something like this, you know, like let's go ahead and build a den in the woods. Or maybe that was just me. I don't really know. And here we go. It's time to do some decoration. You guys know I love decorating far more than I like building. And here I really wanted to go ahead and have some beer taps, you know, so you can go ahead and get your lager out of these taps. However, they don't actually have any in the base game. So I had to go ahead and make myself. And me, Final Render, used to work as a barman for many, many years, so I'm very precise about how things in a bar should look, and I know what makes a bar look good. So I went ahead and made these really cool beer taps along with drip trays beneath them, because that's practical. And also, I wanted to have some of these upside down spirit dispensers right here. I don't remember what the actual name is for these, but they're very, very common to go ahead and give yourself measured spirits, or at least in the UK, you have to have a very strict limit on the amount of spirits you can have in your drinks, so they use these vertical dispensers to go ahead and make sure they comply with the law. Went ahead and did it here because obviously they want to go ahead and make sure they get the most amount of money. And here we go with the bar kind of built. It's not much, it's not too exciting, but it feels really authentic. It feels like a genuine functioning little bar area, this does. As I said, it's got everything you need to go ahead and serve the customers. It's got all the glasses, it's got all of the wine racks, it's got plenty of drinks down on the bottom shelves. It's also got some beer barrels as well as the actual taps. Looks fantastic. I'm really, really proud of that little bar. It's not much, but I'm proud of it. And here we have got some of the knives that we had to go ahead and throw in there. It's actually very hard to make a static model of a knife in the game because they're actually in like 4 different pieces. You've got to go ahead and assemble it yourself. It's very annoying. And here we go, putting some of the billboards in here. As I said, I wanted it to look like the exterior, almost like it's all from the same kind of kit set. And luckily, these boards actually work really, really well when you shrink them down. It kind of feels like one of those trendy hipster places, you know, where you can go ahead and order some sushi and a black coffee and type out your screenplay on your MacBook, you know? It feels like that kind of place. But also, I get the feeling that at night, this would be a really cool place to go ahead and chill, where there would probably be lots of bar fights and lots of games, and it would be really cool. I love the little knife throwing idea. It's so Fallout and so cool, and the Synth Gen 1 heads look really scary. They definitely look very Terminator, and I love it. And pretty much now, we're just about adding some little crimscrams to go ahead and maximize the space a little bit and make it feel a bit more authentic. Some ideas people had on the live stream was to go ahead and have a pool of blood with a mop there, almost as if there'd been a bar fight. And also, we had to go ahead and kind of scrap up the place a little bit, because it's not Fallout if it's too perfect. I know I've done plenty of perfect looking builds, but this is not one of them. This Diamond City needs to be a little bit scrappy, a little bit more law friendly, so to speak. So we went ahead and put down some rubbish just on some of the edges to go ahead and make it look like this place actually is quite busy. And just adding 1 or 2 little bits of litter does make the place feel very different. You can't necessarily see it everywhere. It's not on every corner, on every little place where there could possibly be some litter, but it really does make the place feel a bit more believable. But this is the place fully done, and I really get the impression that when we add NPCs to this place, it's gonna feel incredible. When we've got like maybe 15 NPCs walking around, sitting down, chatting, having fun, it's gonna feel really authentic, this place. As I said, I didn't want something that looked too perfect. I wanted it to look upper class and expensive and posh for the world of Fallout, but I didn't want to make something that looked like one of those kind of modern, trendy, manufactured pubs, you know? Again, if you're in the UK, think things like Wetherspoons, or in the US, I suppose you've also got your own kind of brands of pubs that you see everywhere. I don't want that. I want something truly unique and cozy and warm. And there we go. That is the build fully done. Now, I've actually had a bit of an issue with Fallout 4 recently, being that I've had to reinstall everything and stuff, so forgive me for using some of the same footage at the very start of this video, as I did in the last episode, but this is actually the bar fully finished. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Remember to check out all the cool Patreon people in the description below who help support the channel with their financial donations. You yourself can also do the same. Remember, we've got one more interior to build in this entire mod project, and that is the Church of Atom right next door. And that's actually probably going to be quite a quick one, but we're going to definitely have some fun. I've got cool ideas for lighting and stuff like that with that one. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Remember to tune into the next live stream to help out with this build, and I'll see you around. This has been the final render, and you'll be the audience. Until next time, cheers.